All right, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. I am 1.5 minutes late, but I don't know. This morning I woke up and I wasn't feeling good. I think I just been doing too much, and lately, um, I haven't been able to keep a good internet connection. It would just drop. So I'm not gonna let the devil get to me this morning. I really didn't feel good this morning, but you know what? I take pride in what I do, and that's today's discussion. I truly believe that you have to just keep, on the side with God and not let everything fall down just because you may have a sniffle or the dog won't come into the house or he ate your homework, whatever. The point is that I'm here. I'm going to hold it this morning because I'm closer to a window, which maybe will let the internet work for these 35 minutes. But anyway, I'm going to ask you the question. Are you stuck? Yes. Periodically, we all get stuck. We get stuck on so many things for so many reasons. And it's all right. There's nothing wrong with us getting stuck. It's if we never work on the issue, if we never work on the problem. Good morning, Ashley. If we never give it to God, if we never give it to, saying, Lord, it's bigger than me. I can't do it. I cannot do it. So we do get stuck. And so the point this morning is we're going to talk about pride, our pride. And, I want you to have a piece of paper and pen with you this morning because I realize the importance of pride. And a lot of times when we are prideful people, we can't be so prideful that we end up losing everything, losing respect, losing whatever it was we were to complete, or losing what I call position. Because sometimes pride will do that to us. We get too caught up on being good, too caught up on being the best, too caught up on being, above everybody else. We're not. We're just regular folks. Occasionally, we may pop up with something that we did occasionally, but it shouldn't be the mantra that we stand on. Every day we need to get up, find something else to do that feeds our soul, feeds our heart, feeds our head, because we need to be busy. Good morning, Maurice. I love you guys. Y'all are faithful. Y'all come see me every morning, and I love that. And so when we really talk about pride, we just talk about the goodness of it. Let me make sure I got my glasses. Okay, look, this is a new position. This is a new area I'm in. Let me see if it's behind here. No, out of all the times I always have my glasses right here. Just give me 1 second. Hold on. I'm going to take you with me. That means I got to go to the kitchen. Hold on. Hold on. Y'all so sweet because y'all know she's too close. She is too close. Let's see. Oh, there's some right there. I got some. All right. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. So when we talk about our pride, we want to understand how we deal with our pride, because our pride is, to me, is an important part of who we are, even if we don't do much with it. Other people sometimes do. They make us feel good about what we've accomplished. And so that's a wonderful thing. So I didn't have a poem this morning. Actually, I had one, but I couldn't read it. It printed out funny. I was so tired when I went to bed that I didn't really get it to print out, and I didn't have enough time this morning to reprint it. So, but when we talk about pride, it's personal. It's a personal thing. It's yours. It belongs to you. It doesn't belong to anybody else. So sometimes people can pump you up just to pull you down. So you have to be careful of those folks. And sometimes you can pump yourself up, and then other people will let you down because they don't have the same feeling that you have about what you did, about what you accomplished. That's the way it is. It is. I remember, and I'm gonna give you a quick scenario for myself. I remember when I was getting my PhD. Somebody swore that, oh no, she must be getting an EDD. There's no way that she knows how to do a PhD. That wasn't true. That wasn't true. I purposefully took, I knew what I wanted. I knew that I wanted the PhD because it was based on research, because I wanted to have something to fall back on, something to say. And you know, don't get me wrong, EDDs too, they also have research based, but they stay with education. And I did a mixed method. You know, so I was trying to do everything I could do, not just education, but I was also doing music, jazz in particular. So that was my reason for how I mixed up my stuff. But the person was running around telling some folks that that wasn't true, that, you know, there's no way Sandy is getting a PhD. Well, I did. I did. So I'm going to start with pride. And it says pride is a feeling or a deep pleasure or satisfaction which is derived, good morning, Rhonda, derived from one's own achievement. So, I mean, this is you. You did this. You did this. It wasn't anybody else that did it. You did it. And sometimes when we do something, we just have to remember what we did, but we got to move on. We can't stay there. We cannot stay there, you know, because people will always remind you what you did at one time, and anything else may fall short. So then they want to be critical. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So the P for pride really talks about the presence. What is your presence? Good morning, Charles. What is your presence on doing things? How do you present yourself? You know, are you confident? Are you content? Are you charismatic? Are you encouraging and encompassing of a personality? Because some people walk with their head so high they didn't know they bumped into anybody. You know, so sometimes you have to just figure out, where do I fit into this stream, into this thing here. So anyway, it talks about when we look at pride of course is pleasure and joy, it's comfort, it's, you know, articulation, and it's satisfaction. Those are all the things that pride. But presence looks at the state of fact of existing. It's an occurring thing. It's a being present in a place or doing something special. It's attendance, it's appearance. Now, I know for a fact that Charles always, every time I see him, he's dressed to the nine. I know that about him. So he takes pride in how he dresses. Other people take pride in their artwork, like Ashley, or they take pride when they do public speaking. So pride is just that. It's personal. It is yours. It belongs to you. It belongs to you. The R in pride is for reputation. You know, people give you reputation even if you don't have it, or the one you had, and you moved on. You found the Lord. You started going to church. You did something. Good morning, Jamie. Good morning, Lamel. And you found the Lord. You gave your life to Christ, and you've changed over. You've turned over your life. You've changed from what you used to do. Sometimes people will not let you turn away from what you used to do. Why? Sometimes they're still there and they hate for the fact that you moved on. You have to ask the questions. Are they stuck? Yes, they are. Do you want to be stuck with them? No, you don't. No, you don't. So sometimes you have to let people have their own opinions. Good morning, Miss Carolyn. You have to let them have their opinions. It belongs to them. Okay? You just keep doing things that give you a presence in what it is that you do. You keep your character high. You always make sure that you're thankful about whatever happens. You never get so, what I would say, charismatic or so you know, high-nosed in the air, pinky up, that you forget about the other people who may have supported you, who may have encouraged you, who may have been a part of your rise. Always give thanks. Always give thanks. So your presence really looks at, you know, your showing. How do you show up? You know, what is your appearance when you get there? You know, how do you present yourself? What do you exist in your world or everybody's world that you're just a part of? Gives it some thought. It gives it some thought. Okay. So good morning. Opinions are like mouths. Everyone has one. Yes, absolutely. Good morning, Janice. They do, Maurice. They do. They do. They do. They do. So when we look at presence, pride, reputation, that's the one that really gets people a lot of trouble, because they don't think they can create a new reputation. You can. You can. You can. It's yours. It's yours. You can create your life the way you want it. And look, when you're young, you do everything. When you get to the middle age, you may take some things out. When you get to my age, you start being wise. You know what fits. You know what no longer fits. You could probably be an advisor to younger people, but a lot of times younger people have to travel their own journey. They have to. In fact, I had a conversation recently with a young lady, and the conversation was about race. And, she was saying that she didn't understand. And I said, don't worry about it. You don't have to understand everything. What you need to understand is what your position is. That's all you need to understand. Because everyone's going to have a different opinion about what race is to them. Like what I was saying to her, and I've said to people when I've done training, is that sometimes, no matter what you do, you've still offended somebody. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional. And a discussion may straighten it out. But if something, what I call festers, it becomes, nasty. It becomes, dicey. It sinks friendships. It sinks even likeships. Because sometimes you don't even like the person who might have said something about you. And in those instances, you can certainly stay away from them. But the reputation is generally held about someone or something. And generally it's widespread. A reputation a lot of times is widespread. People know about it, especially if you made the paper, And now if you made Facebook, because they would put you on Front Street in a minute. That's why I always try to tell people, if you're still in a position where you need a job, be careful what you put on social media. Be careful. Only because that the social media pages are open. And if they're not open, then they're going to ask you to open them, And that was one of the things I did for the federal government I talked about the millennials. I talked about the Gen Xers. I talked about the next generation of people who would come to work, and that they would not be the ones that ended up with a key to the boardroom. They weren't going to get, a car when they retired. Good morning, Lawson. My nephew. They weren't going to get any of those things. So the new aged, person ends up making it so everybody that has what I call the young mind right now, they're willing to only do things on their own terms. And sometimes their terms are so different, so diverse from what we might have been raised at. We might have been told to be quiet. They don't want to be quiet. We might have been told to come into a formal meeting. No, they may want to protest. They might have been told, they're telling themselves that they will assemble when they want to and not when you tell them to. And a lot of times with work, what I found, even before I retired, is that young people have a tendency to only invest as long as it meets their needs. So if there's something that they need, it might be a car, it might be going to college. Usually when they've completed that action, that requirement, they're done with it. They done. They are finished. Thanks, Charles. They're finished. They're moving on. And so you have to talk about, if you're in business, you have to know the population you're trying to employ. You have to know them. If you don't know them, you can't say nothing to them. You need to find them out. Ask them questions. Pull them into the fold. Tell them, you know what? My company is growing. There's some things I don't know. I really need you to help. Could you help me? Could you look at this? This is my base floor plan. Could you help me look at it where I change it to accommodate some of the things that young people your age would enjoy, would appreciate, would get into, and would help build the company even bigger than what it is? Let me tell you, Google, Apple, Microsoft, they've all done it, because they knew where they needed to get brilliant minds from older people, but still pulling in the younger people, especially with gaming experience or coding experience. So, you have to talk about, how do I reach this population? So you can't worry about, even though they didn't maybe finish school, but they have the ability to be creative when it comes to gaming. You got to give them their props. Let them have what they own that. So leave what the negative side of reputation alone. Put it away from you. You don't even need it. It serves no purpose. It serves no purpose. The I of pride is individualism. You're an individual. You're going to make your own decisions. You're going to love who you want to love, like what you want to like, work where you want to work if they'll let you. You know, live where you want to live if they let you. See, I got these little end notes. The end notes say if they let you, because sometimes they've outpriced it, so you can't get in there. They've outvalued it, so you don't meet the requirements. So sometimes you have to look at am I being excluded? Because sometimes it happens, and it happens in all races. It may not seem like it because some of us may be a certain race and we see being passed over, or we see not being invited in. Don't worry about it, because the talks are going on now. So my prayer for the future is that young people will not only be at the table, but they will be able to run for office and be enough what I would call an inclusive, inviting, encouraging, competent individuals, that they get the job done and everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. The So when you talk about being an individual, that's your own person. You're separate from anybody else, okay? It says you could be single, independent, discreet, sole, and lone. Like they always say, the Lone Ranger. You do things by yourself. And I do a lot of things by myself, especially with quarantine. But occasionally I go out, and I think going out yesterday, I don't know, I didn't feel good this morning, so I'm questioning, because somebody was doing a little coughing near me. But anyway, y'all be prayerful. So the next one is distinction. Distinction is the D. And I just like that word. In fact, we used to have a group, and it was called the Sisters of Distinction, and that meant they had a certain excellence that they were looking at. And it says it's excellence that gets someone or something apart from others. It sets them apart. Basically, this group looks at, education being important. This group looks at, how they feel when they're going to, dress, or what events they're going to go to, or they might be a dance group or whatever it is. So there's a distinction about this group of people. And sometimes being a loner, you may not be a part of that group. But here's what I do. Occasionally I go hang, and when I'm done hanging, guess what? I'm going to the house. I'm going to come back to the house. But distinction looks at being a difference. It looks at being separated. It looks at being your own division and your own variance. It has your own status, your own importance, your own fame, your own prominence, your own reputation. There's that word again. It says your own eminence and your own honor. So all those things come about under distinction. And a lot of times when we are prideful people, as long as we don't take it too far, we have some of those characteristics. We do. We just exemplify what it is that we want in terms of our own. This is for us. It's a personal choice. It's a personal choice that when I go out, I'm always dressed. It's a personal choice that, I love to sing. It's a personal choice. Those are personal choices, of what I like to be a part of my, it's a part of my pride. It's a part of what I want to do. And the last one on here is, it is exclusive. When you have pride, it's an exclusive. It doesn't necessarily invite anybody else. It can be with other people, but a lot of times it is exclusive. It's you. It is you. And so it says excluding or not admitting other things, and it's restrictive. It is a restrictive process. It could be a period of where you are full. You can't invite anybody else in. It is a complete process. It looks out being a whole versus being a partial. Because I used to belong to, a couple of groups in undergraduate school, and there was an exclusiveness and a distinction to them, because they were my school was 90 99.5% Caucasian. So that meant me being in that presence, it took me a minute. It took me a minute to adjust. It took me a minute to adjust. But eventually I did. And because I went to school on a voice scholarship as singing classical music, I ended up being the soloist for the Women's Glee Club. So wherever we traveled around, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, you name it, I was the soloist. I was the one that was going to bring it down. And I remember, when I first got in, feeling funny, feeling like I really wasn't a part of it. But eventually they let me know that what I did was what I call a part of them. And so therefore I eventually became comfortable with it. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we end up getting out of stuff only because we don't feel we're accepted enough. And what I tell you is sometimes you have to wait it out. You wait them out and they see how good you are. They see how kind you are, how fair you are, how understanding you are, how loving you are. Guess what? Guess what? They can include you. And I know sometimes, I know I already hear it. You can write it in there too. Sometimes you may say, I don't want to be a part of them. And that's okay. But sometimes, and I know my girlfriend, Lavender, her father, and I think Nina Simone, and several people say it. My mother used to say it. If you don't know what's being served, okay, and if you're not invited to the table. So sometimes we never know what's going on because, excuse me, we're not with them. So we need to make it where it's a possibility. We're a part of what's going on, And I tell y'all right now, I'm a Rotarian. I'm a part of the Powerful Women of the Gulf Coast. I'm on Everman's, and I'm on Everman's board. I'm not trying to get any accolades for those things. I just want to know what's going on. I want to know what's going on in the city that I live in that will affect me and other people like me. And how can we be, what I would call pulled into the fold of understanding, pulled into the embrace of care, of trust, of want. And a lot of times we don't know anything because we're not a part of it. We're just not. So those are the things when we're looking at our pride, we're looking at what's our presence in our pride. What is our reputation in pride? Our individualism in pride? Well, how distinctive is it in our pride, or are we in our pride? And of course, how exclusive is it? Don't make it so exclusive that nobody can get to you. Good morning, Deborah. Nobody can get to you. Have it where you know enough on what you're bringing in and what hopefully you stay around long enough to receive. That's how you look at what the pride thing will do, because it basically builds you up. It builds you up. So here's my questions for today. I hope you have a pen. My questions are, and I need y'all to write these, and look, please, 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 go ahead and share these videos. I work hard. Sometimes I think I'm working too hard, but once again, I give. I want it to be that this time during quarantine, I found my voice again. I used to do Are You Stuck as a class that people came in to get. And then, so now I found my voice. I hope to do it in podcast soon. I just have to give myself a minute and learn how to do that, along with, trying to marketing the book, which comes out next week. So I just got a lot, as they say, I got a lot on my plate. But guess what? The Lord's going to bless. He is going to bless. So question number 1. Good morning, Kenita. Question number 1 says, how many things or areas do you take pride in terms of your achievement, in terms of your offspring, any projects you do, small and large? What do you take pride in? Because sometimes we take pride in our offspring, but we don't take pride in anything else. And your children will grow up and you have lived vicariously through them. Have some pride for them, but also still continue to live. Still continue to build your own self up. Reading a book, watching a documentary, taking a walk, something that adds to your frame, not just your frame in terms of your physical frame, but your mind and your heart. Give your heart some of that activity, and you will find that it works to your good. The next one is, do you know of the presence you make or made in your job, your community, your church, or your family? Do you know the presence that you make or have made? Because sometimes once we are on a board, we move on, once the board is over. And good morning, Miss Rosie. Good morning, Carolyn again. So sometimes that's how it is. You just end up realizing that I've done some things. I had some fun. I had some fun discovering something I didn't know I could do. Now I know how to do it. I taught myself how to do it. I mean, to me, there's great pride in teaching yourself how to do something you didn't know how to do. And I told you all who were coming to these sessions that I built a website. Don't know nothing about built, but guess what? The website's up. It's got, a URL. It's the whole thing, all for the book. So I'll be working on that over the weekend, trying to start announcing things. The question number 3, it says, how important is your reputation for you? It says, can you and others be, forgiven for whatever you've done in your past? Well, if you don't pay any attention to others, you can forgive yourself if you can get there. But if you're worried about what other people think, then it may be some trouble. Maybe some trouble. Because a lot of times we are caught up on what other people think. And that starts the problem. That starts the problem. The next question is, as an individual, do you align with people and project that to things that you don't even like individually? Do you align with some people and say, well, okay, I'll do it, knowing darn well you don't want to do it? Come on now. Come on. It's always been hard for me to say no because, as I told you, my parents raised us, even though there were a lot of us, they always raised us to be kind to people. So sometimes I felt bad if I didn't say I do something for folks, but I'm gotten better. I can tell you no now, especially with Corona, whatever you want to call it, Vic, 19, nope, can't do everything like I used to. The next question says, do you know what area of distinction you possess? What area of distinction do you possess? And funny thing, everybody always thinks, they give me the title of professor. I said, no. I did my work at the federal level. I said I didn't go to like UWF or PSC. I didn't do that. I just wanted to be free, wanted to be a renegade. I knew that there was more money for me if I went to the federal system than if I did a school. And a school goes on term sometimes, and therefore you might be a full-time professor but paid part-time. Yes, Maurice, there is power in the word no. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Especially once you do it and you get over it. Once you do it and get over it. Okay. The last question says, have you ever been the first to do something which has made it an exclusive thing for you? Ever been the first? Write it in the thread. If you've ever been the first to do something. I don't know. I haven't researched those things yet, but I said I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I would like to know what I might have been a part of and didn't know it. Only because with now, most of the things that you do may be done by Zoom or it's virtual stuff, so you don't even know. But I'm going to find that out. We're going to work on it. So I hope you've had a good time with me today. I know I need the rest of the weekend. I'm a little run down. I do a lot in the course of a week. I act like I'm, 20 again. Not. So I really, y'all be prayerful for me, please, that I would just stay on task, continue to keep the pride up for what I do for you all, just to be here and be a voice that just says, hey, look, have you considered this? Have you looked at that? And I guarantee you, if you did all of these things, everything I'm giving you, every day, by the end of quarantine, you would have the makings of a book. You will. You will. And I tell you, I use the Corona Chronicles, which is put out by Candy Publishing. So I use them, and then and when I got a lot of stuff going on, I just go to the dollar store and get me a whole bunch of those composition books at $1 each, and they're actually put together very well. So I also use them. But I want y'all to have a good day. I want you to know your pride. Keep your pride. Nobody else deserves that but you. It's yours. It's yours. Don't let anybody pull it down. Know how distinctive you are. Even if you're just a distinction of one as an individual, doesn't matter. Continue, if you can, do things for the community. Do things for people that are less fortunate. And know that you can walk and walk and walk in your pride. You have a wonderful day. I appreciate you. I'll see you Monday. Pride. That's right, Maurice. Pride. All right. Have a great weekend. I love you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.